Welcome everybody to the OWCraft podcast, episode 3. I'm joined by our host Joan Skies Overwatch, and our special guest Zhouster, CEO of MayhemGG. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Pretty solid, man. Pretty solid. I'm off work. That's a plus.
Yeah, awesome. So MayhemGG, the reason I wanted to interview you, Zhouster, was because this is actually one of the coolest things that I've come across, and it's a new platform that's emerging for basically the Overwatch scene. I'm sure it can be applied to any other VODs, but
Yeah.
and it's used for going over VODs and being able to just review them with groups of people. And I think there's a huge opportunity for that, and it brings a great value. So I'm really excited to have you here. So thanks for taking the time to be here for this.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Jones, guys, how is your week, man, in Overwatch? Have you played any at all?
Ooh, I've definitely decayed a little bit here and there. I am not gonna lie. It's been a while since I played Overwatch. I've been doing some other things as well, a lot of work most of all, but
Yeah,
been really getting my Switch on,
the Switch.
with I got my
Nice.
Nintendo Switch, dude, and it's just, whoo, it's fun. Because I don't have to pay attention to my computer. I can be in my living room. I can hang out with my dogs while I'm playing. It's cool. So I've just been kind of riding that high for a little bit. So I haven't played too much. I've been here and seeing some things and hearing some things on Twitter though about like the patch notes
Yeah.
and the new hero that you guys talked a little bit about last week. And that guy definitely looks cool, Doomfist. But
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this scene right now. I think a major thing that happened very recently, and I think we'll actually get a chance to talk about it, is the Overwatch League being announced. Their Twitter account went live at Overwatch League on Twitter, and they announced the first 7 teams and all of the owners for the 7 teams that have invested. So that's creating a huge buzz on Twitter. So that's just pretty exciting for kind of the future of our game, basically. So, do you have any thoughts on that, Zoster, on the Overwatch League?
Yeah, definitely. When I first saw it, I love the fact that they're tying it to geographies. I think making a Seoul team, San Francisco team, Boston, Miami, these are all uh I think it's the next step that's going to be really important for bringing in more viewers that don't necessarily play the game. Because we might all be familiar with like the teams at Cloud9 or whatnot, but if you've never played esports before, but you're interested in watching, just knowing oh, I'm next to San Francisco, so that's my team. It actually makes a big difference, and I think bringing a physical presence to esports will give longevity to the game that hasn't existed before. So stadiums or arenas that people can go to, and geographical ties that don't go away even if the game is going through some changes, or there's a new team coming up. It's always going to be San Francisco or New York or whatnot. So I think it's a good move.
ooh, I don't know, man.
Oh, really?
I'm kind of on the I'm on the opposite side of this
Oh,
one.
I love to hear this. Okay.
I am I am more so scared.
Oh, okay.
There's some apprehension there because this is massive, and it just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
agree.
for esports as a whole and pushing the scene further. This
Yeah.
could either set us back years, or it just is the platform that slingshots esports to the main stage.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you saw CS doing a little bit with on TBS with the E League, and you guys are gonna love this. Like how Evo, the Smash tournament's being broadcasted on Disney Channel,
That's interesting. I didn't hear about that.
Oh, damn.
and yeah, this I'm so surprised about that because Smash players are not kid friendly. They're
Yeah.
not
Sorry.
in the least,
That's kind
not
of
in the
funny.
least. But so there's things like that are kind of pushing it to the main
Yeah.
stage. So even pushing it to a much wider audience. And I'm just worried that Overwatch, at least as it is now, might not be the game to really be throwing that money in to be doing that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's just the spectator like client just isn't quite there.
Yeah,
And
I do agree
so
with that.
it's really hard for someone that doesn't know about the game to get into it
Yeah.
versus a game, say, like Counter-Strike, which is why it was the first game. Well, not the first game on television. I mean, there was StarCraft years ago
Yeah,
from South
StarCraft.
Korea. But the first really massive viewership, like there's a really big viewership on TBS, where
Yeah.
before StarCraft had decent viewership from, like, say, the Western countries, like we're talking about Europe and America, but it didn't have like amazing viewership.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little apprehensive about it. A little scared.
I'm actually a huge advocate for the Overwatch League, but I do see like the criticisms and like kind of the risks that it could have because there is this potential that it could just come in and be like a huge flop, and there's a lot of risk there. But I like to see. I really think that Overwatch and Blizzard in Overwatch, like owning Overwatch and like kind of structuring it for their future, they're trying to put like a longevity aspect to the game, and I think they're doing the right steps for that. Like they see their game relevant in like 20, 30 years, which seems kind of ridiculous to some people, but I think honestly like it has that potential like as a sport even. And the thing is, there's a lot of the owners that they're getting on board. They're huge investors with like huge brands like the Patriots, the Mets, um,
Mm-hmm.
owner of Energy, just like different sports franchises and a lot of like um, big players in this like in the traditional sports market transitioning to what they believe is the future. And I never actually like looked at it in a standpoint of like, hey, we have like these traditional tier one brands, they're getting established, but actually like doing the geolocation market, that brings up a really good point of being able to reach new audiences. Now, I saw one critic to it like say like, oh, well, if the scene is so underdeveloped, like you're not going to be able to fill up like stadiums or anything like that. But I really think like with all of the markets like coming together and like all of these different brands, it may not be there like right away, but I also think that it's going to grow at like a faster rate than some people might even like imagine. And I think that's and it could be the quite opposite. It could like underperform and then not gain traction at all. But I think with all of the players like investing in, it's just gonna kind of snowball this type of audience, and it might hit mainstream like sooner than one would think.
Yeah, I watched. I agree that there's like this kind of, it feels at least like it could go one of two ways, and it's not. There's no like middle ground here. I watched an interview between Robert Kraft and Bobby, the CEO of Blizzard,
Yeah,
on
I saw that one too.
Bloomberg. Yeah, and it like so there's like two things stood out to me. One was like it feels like the heavy hitting investments. It's like that's where like the focus of Blizzard is. It's like getting these big names in here and having them, think of this as a long term investment. But it also made me worry because I also see the teams dropping off, like Movistar and Selfless Gaming and stuff. And
Yeah,
I just hope there isn't like a disconnect between, you know,
the
Blizzard,
community.
yeah, like Blizzard viewing this as like the next international, NFL or whatever it is they see, but not realizing it's like driven by the players and the pros. And I just hope I hope they really are able to pull that together. That'll be pretty important.
Well, yeah, they're definitely not dumb. Blizzard is very smart. I mean, they kind of went a little wayward with some of their more recent esports. Heroes of the Storm in particular.
Oh god.
I'm just gonna call them out. And but I don't think they're gonna start with arenas. They're gonna
Yeah.
start
Probably
small.
not.
There's definitely gonna start more online until there's I see this like ESL with the Rainbow, how they use Rainbow Six, where they do online tournaments until they get to a kind of playoffs thing where everybody gets together for a LAN, and I kind of see it going that way for now. Maybe the
Yeah.
first season might work like that, and yeah, it will be a lot cheaper, and that way you don't have to worry about the overhead and just wasting all that money on the arenas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
the
agree.
only way to really like push the scene, as you're saying, they're gonna build storylines. I mean, you see this in
That's the big thing. Yeah.
fighting games a lot, where storylines are built, rivalries are made between teams and between players, between like whole orgs in fighting
Yep.
scenes, in the fighting scene, and I think that's why the fans are so rabid, and that's why you see the scene growing really rapidly right now. Like Evo over the past couple years has gotten massive, so much more massive than it was, say, I don't know, 2006. So within the span of 10 years, I would say it's tripled. Like the audience are quadrupled for Evo
Mhm.
for good reason. They really market their players well. They market the scene well while still being organic.
Yeah.
They're doing a really great job just building the legacy around these players and also the teams. And I think it's kind of like an introduction to that. And I also remember, like, to build off of your point, in this interview that Zhouster referenced to with the Bloomberg and Robert Kraft and the CEO of Blizzard, um, he was kind of answering this woman, and he said, "Oh, the cost of the running the teams and everything is very minimal. It's like nothing at all, basically." So that leads me to believe that it's like going to be an online type of thing at first, but they're going to be able to build all of this content and like community around these players and teams, and I think that's going to like somewhat drive the audience as well as like the player base forward. So I don't know. I think it's definitely like a risky thing, like but it's exciting for me at least. So
Yeah. I think it's exciting. whether it's good or bad, it's definitely exciting.
It'll be cool to see the journey, man. I mean,
Yeah.
whether if they fly, either way, I see a documentary being made about this 5 or 10 years in the future.
I can see it now.
No matter the outcome, there's gonna be a documentary
Yeah.
about it,
So
about how, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
oh
Sorry,
no, no, you finish that point.
baby.
The
Go ahead, no,
failure
baby.
of esports or
There you
something
go.
like that,
Yeah,
right?
the failure of Blizzard,
Oh
or
god.
yeah, what launched esports in the mainstream, because this is definitely like will be the climax. This is, well, the catalyst, I guess would be a good word to use for what's gonna do it. So
Yeah. Just so we'll touch on the PTR a little bit and talk about kind of where the meta might shift to from this current. Right now, we're facing just the dive meta every game, same heroes. If you look at the hero picks and like rates for all the recent tournaments, it's literally the same 6 heroes. You know, the classic Diva, Winston, Lucio, Zenyatta, and then for your 2 DPS, it's the Tracer Genji. But I think what they're doing, and that's kind of really boring, and we talked about this episode 1, but basically what they're doing on the PTR, and I think it's going to bring more tanks into viability, is they're buffing Graviton Surge to where nothing can escape it at all. Like no Tracer blinks, nothing to get out of it. And they are buffing Reinhardt's swing by 10%, so he hit marks faster, and he like is able to just swing faster, and like it's like less buggier basically, which a lot of players have complained. So I think that, in my opinion, that's going to set both of those tanks kind of like on a more even playing field of the other tanks, kind of like how it was in season 2, season 3 type of thing, where all the tanks were seeing somewhat equal play. What are your guys' thoughts on these tank changes, like the huge Graviton change and then the Reinhardt change? and how
Well,
it
I
affects the dive.
mean, that's what you hope, but the issue here was never with Reinhardt or really Zarya.
Right.
It was the issues is Roadhog. The issue is Roadhog being the biggest counter to Diva still being nerfed. And
Yeah.
as long as Diva's in play, it makes Zarya much harder to play, much less viable. Which then in turn, like not having the Roadhog also makes Reinhardt less viable because it's harder to stop a dive. Or Reinhardt can't stop a dive. They just go around him. He can't do the damage. His shield becomes useless. And then when he puts down his shield to do damage, that's when we'll have like say a Widowmaker or somebody in the back line just laying into him. So I don't really think this is gonna fix the dive problems, especially if Doomfist comes in as he is, because he is just a straight dive character. That's he just feels like a
Yeah.
very strong dive character, which isn't gonna help that situation of making it just both teams, whether it's offense or defense, only playing dive. So I don't. It's a step in the right direction, but it's
Right.
not
I don't think it's completely
Yeah.
the fix to
fixed.
the problem. It's not the fix to
100%
the
no.
problem at all.
Yeah. What one? Yeah, I agree. I think, but I do think one change that is coming, which helps a little bit, is the McCree stun. Just
Yes.
being able to hit it on the Tracer and the Genji,
Mm-hmm.
and actually securing those kills. Because I think what you said before about Roadhog is like really relevant. Where before, if he can just get the hook off on a Tracer, it's like a guaranteed kill, or get the hook off on a Diva, it's a lot more likely to get her out of mech, and that basically breaks the dive, or at least makes it a 5v6. So you have something to do. McCree having the little buff on the stun helps a little bit because you might be able to secure that pick. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know what's gonna shift it away from dive, but I do think that I think Blizzard is aware and they're trying to do something about it.
Yeah. They're making steps in the right direction. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I do see Zarya sometimes in scrims, and she's played with some viability. And I think this change to her graviton, where literally nothing can escape it, you will see her played a little bit more. Obviously, there still is the threat of Diva, but it's just kind of like, okay, well, we can't shoot it at the Diva, but obviously, it's still going to be a strong counter to Zarya in some regard, especially since Roadhog is kind of not really viable at all, I'd say. I see him run occasionally, but
It's an old battery.
yeah, that's basically
Yep.
what he is. So they probably need to make some changes to Roadhog, and then I think we'll see a little bit of more balance in the play.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right now, there's the biggest issue is Diva, man. It really
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
is.
agree. I
It's
agree.
Diva's so strong and without anybody to deal with her, which was the only person that was really good at dealing with her was Roadhog. And now that he can't really deal with her, it's just you have to have a character that then can. Whether that's buffing Zarya's damage on her left click, which might be a little too far, too much to make Zarya just a god again. Like she used to be, or just I think nerfing Diva defense matrix in general is
Yeah.
one of the best ways to stop pure
Yeah.
dive.
I somewhat agree with that. I think Diva's just like too broken. Just like the certain types of mobility and comps. But I do think like they're trying to fix it, and it's not necessarily like a thing of just like these current characters in the game, but maybe with they're trying to add more characters in the game too to balance it out. I don't know. It's just I think people should try out more strategies. I think Reinhardt with the 10% speed swing is more relevant of a change than people think. So people might run these types of death ball types of comps, and that could somewhat be effective versus the 2-2-2 dive, just because if or like there's not really too much to do because if Ryan can swing faster, that means he can deal with flankers a little bit easier, just because
Mm-hmm.
he's overall doing more damage and his hit mark appears faster. So like he can do a lot more, but at the same time, it's not like big time. It's not going to make him like able to chase a tracer or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's still not they're still going to just be able to walk right by him in most cases. But I don't know. So that's kind of where we're at with Dive. I want to transition to talking about Mayhem though, because I think we spent a good amount of time talking about PTR and as well as just like the current things that are happening. So I think I want to hear most of this from Zhouster, but I'll give you my summary of the website,
All
which
right.
is probably not doing it any justice. But I'm actually going to pull it up on the stream for you guys and just kind of show you uh, just a live demo example. And I'm not going to actually do much on it, but it'll at least show you the functionality of it.
Have you used it before, Jones, guys?
I just looked at it, and dude, I literally just heard about it, and I'm so glad this exists now. As a person that has coached multiple teams, you don't know how excited I am that this is a thing.
Yeah, we've worked with a lot of like team coaches and a lot of like orgs to try to build out the tools that really matter to them. So we work with this team manager Hank, ECV Esports, and he was joking where like they really wanted like the call out maps or the map overlays to be able to draw on them and like coordinate strategy. And he's like, I almost like learned how to code so I can build it myself.
So,
Yeah, that's actually crazy cool.
so right now on the, I guess we should probably talk about the website a little bit first, but right now on the
Yeah.
site I have basically a map call out of Dorado First Point pulled up. And what MayhemGG is, from my perspective, I guess, the way I explain it is, it's a website where you can share videos with like a group of people, and it's like there's other services kind of like this, but nothing like that goes to this extent and has the functionality. And basically, what you can do is you go live with a live stream, and then you're able to share it with anybody who wants to access it. Let's say you're doing a team VOD review, and you get your team on this live stream, and you can actually watch the video together, so it's in sync. You can pause it at the same time, go to the next thing. But the thing that makes it stand out from anything else is like the ability to draw on it, pull up map callouts, text. You can pull out like hero icons, and that's actually really cool. So you can just kind of strategize and even like make content on the video sharing thing itself. So I'm actually really hyped about it. I use it all the time for any type of coaching thing I do with OWCraft, and I use it all the time. So I guess how would you explain Mayhem
Yeah,
for our audience? Because you
that
probably
was
know it like much better.
no, that was a really good explanation. I mean, we see it internally. We've always seen Mayhem as kind of the uh, collaboration tool for user generated content. So we built it, and that's kind of vague, but um, we really wanted to focus on people working together or like multiple people being able to interact within like a web browser around content. Because what we realize is, when you're watching a video or when you're doing stuff together, like you could technically use some other sites that let you watch things together, but because those sites don't really know what it takes to like review a VOD or like plan some strategy or like go over some mistakes or things like that, they kind of stop pretty far from all the tools that are necessary. So us adding like freehand drawing tools, adding text, adding the hero icons, adding every single map overlay, things like that were things that we really cared about because we wanted the experience to be like perfect for like Overwatch specifically. When we expand to other games, we'll be building out more tools and more things. But yeah, the focus on Overwatch, and it's about being able to collaborate around content. So whether it's video game replay that you guys have, or it's some pro match that the team wants to analyze. And we want it to be all doable on Mayhem.
That's really awesome. And the thing is, like, I think it goes like a step further than all these just other sites, like just like sharing a YouTube link with people and telling them to watch it, or even like a Twitch stream. It like actually lets you interact with the people that are watching it together, and I don't think there's really much that accomplishes that feat.
Yeah, like we think about when we think about Twitch streaming, and we love Twitch, and we think about Twitch as like broadcasted live content. So when you go to Twitch, you go there to watch or to listen, and it's more of a passive experience. Like you can type in chat, but it kind of stops. But when we think about Mayhem, we think about it as a collaborative live experience. So it's kind of live broadcasted versus live collaborative, and so. In Mayhem, when you join as a participant, you can also draw. You can also add call out maps and add these hero icons and change the video. And, we have a bunch of new features coming out, but there's so many things that everyone in the session can do. And it's synced across everyone. So our focus is on this type of working together to consume content or to get better at, Overwatch. It's about that collaboration.
What inspired you to start Mayhem? I know you kind of touched on that when you were explaining it, like you wanted to just have that way for people to collaborate. But is there anything in specific that just made you say, "Hey, I want to start this website, this platform for people"? Was it just kind of like you saw like people like Hank having the need for it and stuff like that, or is it just inspiration? How did you
Yeah.
come up with that?
So actually, it was I started. So let's see. So I used to work in finance. Not a fun place to be, but paid the bills. Worked in finance. I left my job with a friend of mine. He used to work at Facebook as an engineer. So we both left to build another company actually before this. And while we were building that company, we'd play a lot of games. So one of them being Overwatch. And we loved Overwatch so much. We'd watch YouTube videos, we'd watch streams, and we try to get better and be entertained. One of the things that I loved to watch at the time were VOD reviews. So I love watching people go over gameplay content and like point out mistakes and talk about stuff. And something I noticed was, at the end of a review, the guy would say, "Hey, like send me your gameplay at this email and like, or this Dropbox or Google Drive." And I'd be like, "Holy crap, is that like actually how they're doing this?" That's like a pretty janky way to do it, because you'd get it like 10, 20, 40 emails with a bunch of attached videos. I don't even know how they do it. Like they go through their emails and like download the videos to preview them.
Inefficient, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. I was just like, there's no way this is how they do it. And then they have to like screen record themselves, reacting to the video and then re-upload to YouTube. And like some of the content I was watching was like, oh, this would be so much better if it wasn't just like a screen cap. So that's kind of what sparked it. I was like, we should build a platform where you can have a profile. You can like give people just a link. Like instead of your email, you just give them a link, and then they go to that link and they send you a video directly into your profile. And then you can sign into your profile. You don't have to download it. You can preview it in the platform. And then when you're ready, you just click a button and then you can react in the platform. So you can watch it and review the gameplay without going anywhere. And it records all of that in the platform. And when you're done, you just upload. And that's it. You go to one website, everything happens on that website. And anytime you want to do a VOD review or you want someone to send you a video, you just give them your link. So that's kind of the start. So that's like asynchronous, right? It's kind of like messaging. Someone sends you a video, you record your review, and then you kind of send it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how we started. And when we launched to a couple communities, we got like immediate feedback was like, we want to do it live. So it wasn't actually that I, predicted or thought of it. It was more like when we launched, something we pride ourselves in and we focus on is we always talk to our users. We listen to our users. We listen to the communities, and we do everything we can to try to understand, what you guys need and how you guys are using the product and make it better. So when we launched, everyone was like, this is awesome. I love that it's so easy. I can do it in the browser, but I want to do it live. Like I want to just invite a friend over and we can watch it together. I don't always want to record it, right? Sometimes it's like a 2-hour VOD.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to like watch a 2-hour VOD and do a review. I just want to hop into a session and watch like 30 minutes of it with a friend. And so we spent a good like week doing like interviews and user studies and watching how people use it. And we built out live. So we launched live, what was like a month and a half, almost 2 months ago. Actually, no, like about a month and a half ago. And after we launched live, like Mayhem just exploded, like kind of took off. We do thousands of hours of live stream content every month right now. We have thousands of users on the platform. Like once people could do it live, they started thinking of like, other things that they could do on the platform. And that's when we realized that what we're actually building is not this, it's not just for like a YouTuber or a streamer to interact with their followers. It's like for everybody. So for, the everyday gamer to hop into a session with their friend and watch a game, or, for like different communities to like host live sessions to talk about different things. And that's kind of how we're focusing now, which is being able to build out the platform to make collaboration easier, better, and also to like increase the reach of, different people in like these live sessions.
To me, it seems like somewhat like almost the future of just collaborating with like media. It's like,
yeah, we hope that like we have this idea of in the future, right now you can drop in videos, but in the future you can like drop in GIFs. We have actually our next release that's coming out in about a week. We're gonna have kind of emojis, that like custom emojis. We're gonna have group chat in there. When you spam emojis, you can spam them across the screen too. So like if you want, you can turn it off
cool.
too.
Korean style, like Japanese style, and like
sorta, yeah. Yeah. So like you could like spam PogChamp across the screen. There's like
that's so cool.
Like flyouts. We think, and the great thing about this is we want like everyone to be able to do it. And we want like the session host to have some like moderator controls, but we want like participation and for it to be like this fun thing, right? But we also want you to be able to just hop in and watch and kind of chill out if you want. So there's like the group chat, so you don't have to be in face cam or video. You don't have to do anything. You can just enjoy the show.
So there's somewhat of a viewership experience.
Yeah.
How many people can it go up to? I mean, I assume you guys eventually just want it to be as many as that want to connect to the link and watch it.
Yeah. So the limit is going to be several hundred. It's there's no like exact ceiling. It's something that we're kind of can
like server sided.
It goes until everything crashes.
yeah, sort of, yeah. We put our own hard cap on so it doesn't crash, but theoretically we can kind of expand it over time.
That's good as you see the growth and whatnot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, one quick question is, do you have any monetization things, or how do you plan to monetize in the future? Because I'm assuming this is something you want to expand upon, which takes money, other than maybe getting investors, which is definitely viable. I'm just kind of wondering.
Yeah. So actually, it's a good point. We're talking to investors right now, and our first kind of, I would say probably like the leg of growth is really just going to be from investors. We plan to keep the product 100% free. So I would think of it really like Twitch. There's going to be 3 ways we make money. It's going to be from ads, donations, and subscriptions. The majority of it is going to be ads, and that's going to be something we're going to like figure out how best to do it, whether it's like, just like Twitch where the host can decide when to play the ad, or, we play it like one every 30 minutes or hour in a session, or however it is, but it's going to be ads. Some fun things we thought about are like, when you like just like cheers or bits in Twitch, you can donate to a live host if you think like the session's pretty awesome and like they're doing a good job, like, you know, entertaining you or explaining some concept. And then same for subscriptions. So we think the cool thing about Mayhem that's different from like Twitch in terms of subscriptions is because Mayhem is inherently interactive, you can give your subscribers way more control of a live session when they subscribe versus Twitch, where you have to like, you know, give them all these additional things that are
outside
kind
of
of
the platform.
yeah, exactly. Like outside, like, oh, they get like a name on, you know, role on Discord or something. Now it's like, no, if you're a subscriber, like you get to control the drawing tool in, you know, in my session or something. Like you can spam these emojis you don't get into like the actual canvas. So things like that. Yeah, I think that's, you know, gonna be how we monetize, but I don't imagine we'll ever charge for the product. Like we want it to be free. Like it's so fun to like be in a session that like I just can't. We don't want to make like money a part of it
That
at all.
exclusive, yeah,
Yeah,
because it's such a great product. You don't really want to bar it off. Because I've
exactly.
seen a lot of really like cool pieces of software or websites barred off that it
Yeah,
really could be a massive thing that otherwise it's not, just because of that.
yeah, exactly. And like, you know, it's kind of in our philosophy to do that. And so, you know, we're gonna do our best to basically raise investor money till we have a stage where we're sustainable. And then that'll be when the fun starts. So if we're sustainable, we have a lot of options and we can just keep growing the platform and making it more and more fun.
I really
So
like the sorry to cut you off,
you're all
James.
good. Go, babe.
The I really like the model of like donations and subscriptions because not only are there just like streamers or whoever wants to view it, but I'm sure like a lot of coaches will use it or just people that can provide some type of value with the
Yep.
VOD sharing. So that kind of there's like an incentive of like having donations being available and having that with your platform would be really cool. Actually, I would like that.
Yeah, like we actually had like a guy who does art, like he's a graphic designer, he's a voice actor. He reached out about like teaching his art class in Mayhem, where he
Wow.
would like, yeah, he would like drop in a recording of one of his drawings, or he could have his student drop in a recording of them drawing like digital art, and then he would give tips and like do seminars on like, you know, how to improve on drawing. And like he has a Patreon account, but he could also get donations on Mayhem now. So it's we 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 see this future where like you like a lot more people can share their knowledge and spread it in a collaborative platform versus just streaming on Twitch, where effectively what you're doing is just screen sharing, you know, to like
Yeah.
a massive audience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a little different, I think, or like better in my opinion in terms of collaboration.
Yeah, there's a big opportunity for artists as well, because obviously you see the art streams on Twitch too, but being able to like interact in a step further is huge.
Yeah,
I just see this as a great like teaching platform for
yeah,
the most part for everything. I mean, of course, I think that will be like the premier way for coaches to really give those coaching sessions or whatever they want to do, but even just like actual classes, like I could see, because can do video sharing, and
yeah.
who knows, the sky's the limit for something like this. It seems like where you can just do like complete seminars.
Yeah, yeah. We're thinking of the same thing where you can like upload a PDF or a PowerPoint if you have some like, you know, some content that you want to talk about that's not a video form. You can like pre-upload and prepare like, you know, if you have like a 30-minute talk you want to do on. So I don't know if you guys follow like you know, like distributed computing and like Ethereum and Bitcoin. This is like nebulous new thing in technology. Like people got super hyped on and like everyone was looking for a place to like learn about it and like there was nowhere to go. So that was one of the things where like, oh man, you can just like do a talk on Mayhem about that. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it's crazy because like when I talk with you guys and like a lot of other people, there's so much in the future that we could build. And you know, right now it's like we got to stay focused.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like we gotta make sure that like every user who is on the platform right now like loves it and wants to come back, or like, if they have an issue or if they don't want to use it, we got to know why. Like we got to know what it is, because if it's we don't want to use it because like we thought it'd be like Twitch. Well, it's like, oh, okay, well then just go to Twitch. But if it's like, oh, we didn't want to use it because it's too slow, or like, I couldn't, like, for example, before, like, oh, I couldn't add hero icons. It would be like, oh crap, like that's something that we need to build, right? Like something unique to us that is really useful.
Yeah, so user feedback is huge for you guys.
Yes, yeah. I mean, when hopefully, like you know this as well, man. But like anytime anybody like reaches out to me directly in in our Discord or basically in any way, like we're always listening.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I remember actually talking to Zhouster about adding the text feature. I kept bugging him about it. I was like, it'd be really cool for Mayhem to have the ability to add text, and sure enough, they added it like less than almost like a week or two later, and it's one of my favorite tools. So it's really unique actually. I was gonna ask, do you have any additional features that that you see coming out like in the next few weeks that you wouldn't mind sharing? I know there's probably some top secret stuff too, but
So
some
yeah,
gifts too and stuff.
yeah, definitely. So I won't go into extreme detail. I just want to talk about kind of what we want for our like users. Basically, what we realized was like right now, what people when they use Mayhem, one of the things that drives the usage is like Jones guys mentioned, like when a coach wants to coach a student or a team, right? The student or the team will bring a VOD to the coach, and he'll pop it in, and then they'll go over the VOD and do a session. But we want the like hosts to start holding sessions when they don't have like a student or they don't have someone bringing them content, but instead them coming up with content to host. So kind of reversing it, right? Instead of a student saying, hey, can you watch my VOD? It's more like, hey, I'm going to actively talk about this one thing that I know really well. So that's the flip that we're trying to create. And part of making that happen is building features into Mayhem that allow the hosts to think about it as more of a broadcasted collaboration versus just like a small group thing or like a team.
Yeah.
So like group
Discovery
chat
features.
Go ahead.
Discovery features.
Yeah, exactly. So so we need to build in like start thinking about like building discovery, search, a feed, like populating some metadata, so that people can like look for things, and also working with the creators that are going to be hosting these sessions. So like OWCraft is definitely going to be one of the communities that we work with. Wallace Bootcamp, IOStux, like a lot of these, your Overwatch, these guys that we've spoken to, starting to host sessions where it's like a clinic, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna do like a soldier clinic, or like Doomfist just came out. Let's hold a Doomfist clinic on like how to do his like combo, stuff like that. Like let's like there's also like a bring your own VOD hour or something where you can like drop into a session. Yeah, like bring like a limit like 10-minute VOD, but then like bring the VOD and then you can like drop in and do Q&A with the host. So like things where like the host will be actively holding sessions versus just a student coming with a VOD. So kind of expanding that is going to be a big thing in the next couple weeks.
I think it's important to get it in the hands of like all the right people, like especially if you're focusing on Overwatch. I'd say like make sure that all the Overwatch content creators have a hold of it, and I think you're really doing a great job of that with like Wawas and OWCraft as well, and just anybody like that wants to try to use this platform, because it's definitely really exciting to use, and I think it's going to spread like wildfire. So
yeah, like one of the switches that we haven't turned on, which is part of what you mentioned before, which is discovery, and we're like extremely excited to be able to do this in probably like 2 months or a month and a half. is like the feed, this aspect of like going and looking for people to follow, or looking for communities to follow, or looking for like live sessions that are coming up or that are happening right now to hop into. We really want to get this right, so it's going to be a lot of like working, and I'm going to be bugging you a lot too, man.
Yeah, I'll definitely like be there
yeah
to give
uh,
feedback.
yeah, basically, like, how do we get you guys to like um see Mayhem as a place to like grow your brand, and like, spread this, like hold these sessions where like you can reach a lot of people, and it's not just this like surface reach where like you post a video on YouTube and people watch it and like it. It's like, people get to talk to you or hear you, get your thoughts in real time, and be able to see you interact with content in a way that like they can't get anywhere else. Something
That's
that,
pretty big, actually.
yeah. Because like we really see Mayhem like sitting, in parallel with YouTube and Twitch. Like you create a video, you can put it on YouTube. It's this like very specific content that you've like spent time doing. And then Twitch is like, okay, you basically want to play the game, right? Like you want to stream yourself playing the game, so you go to Twitch. And then Mayhem is like this in between, where you're, you might not be the best gamer, or you might not be wanting to play like 8 hours a day of Overwatch, but you still love Overwatch and you want to talk about it and you want to, hang out. And so right now you kind of come to Discord and you chat, but there's this idea of interacting around content versus just talking to someone, watching a video and being able to talk about it, or dropping some highlight gifs in. You can do like a 30-minute highlight reel, and have people can like, everyone can like bring their own best plays and drop it in, stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of where we see it sitting in the world.
Now, I did see you had, what was it, like 4 or 5 games supported right now? I saw it was like Overwatch, CS. If you want to go over that, maybe future games you definitely want to support, even if you haven't started working on it, just like some games you're really thinking about getting to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we definitely want to support like StarCraft, League, Dota. I think the way we think about supporting games is we technically support all games as long as they're videos. The thing that we don't have is like, we don't have like the specific, maps for, like, we don't have DDoS2 uploaded. We don't have, Mirage. That's the stuff that we eventually want to do.
Yeah.
So
like
those are the, oh, go ahead.
Oh, you can actually use any video link from YouTube or Twitch and put it in to start the video share. So you can like technically do any type of VOD
Pretty much
from
anything.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. It's like we have people actually using it for, like you saw on the side, we have people using it for other games already. We're just trying to focus on one game to make sure we get the right features built, because we like, for example, once we know that people want map overlays, we can kind of take that feature and then immediately upload map overlays for all the other games. But we have to know first that people want map overlays. So it's kind of like, yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, we love Overwatch, so we're gonna focus on Overwatch first, and then once we think we've really nailed down the core experience, then we're gonna be able to port that over to other games.
It's a very I can't even say it. Developmental mind. I didn't even say that right. Oh, God, but yeah, that's exciting. So I think it's hitting the top of the hour, so I'd like to close out our podcast. But are there any additional things you'd like to say about Mayhem to the audience, or just like in general about the website is www.MayhemGG. The way you spell that is in the actual picture, but it's MayhemGG. So you just type that in, it'll come up with a site, and that'll bring you to it. But yeah, Zhouster, did you have anything else?
No, I just wanted to like thank you guys for taking the time to bring me on the podcast. Love talking about Overwatch. Also, you guys, like, as a community, using Mayhem, being like awesome users, giving great feedback. Same for like all the other communities out there that are using us, and all the other users. And if you haven't used Mayhem before, definitely sign up. Definitely drop in a VOD, invite some friends, host some live sessions, and we're gonna keep cranking out new features and expanding the product. So, um, the longer you stick with us, the better the experience is going to be.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Oh,
really,
and
really good to hear.
yeah, sorry, and I want to also clarify that like our team is like this. We do this full time. So for a lot of people, things are like they have a full time job or they're going to school and they work on certain things on the side. Like
Where it's all volunteer based.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we don't make money right now. We're not doing this to make money either. Like we left our jobs before we even were working on Mayhem, right? We were building something else. We do this because we love it, and we do this every day. Like it's awesome. It's fun. So that's kind of I'm hoping people know that when they use the site, when they encounter a bug, when there's something that's still missing, like we're around, we're listening, and like we want to know because we're gonna make this better, and this is what we're doing. So yeah, it's like it's really important to us, and we love our users. So yeah.
Definitely shows. I'm going to link the Discord Mayhem in the chat as well as like
Oh,
wherever I
awesome.
post it. So if anybody has questions or like want to provide feedback, they know that they can use the Mayhem Discord, and basically you guys can contact with Zhouster directly or any of the admins there that work on the project. So yeah, and I guess that wraps up our podcast. Thank you so much, Zhouster, for being here and taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it. I'm really glad we got to talk about the platform because it's something I'm using. I'm trying to get more people to use and like just become aware of it because it's really badass. And yeah, so thanks so much for being here. And
Yeah.
so Jones guys,
It
thanks for
has been
joining
a
us as well.
pleasure,
Thanks, guys.
baby.
And our next podcast episode will be at the same time next week, 9 p.m. On Friday. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching, joining us, listening from SoundCloud or iTunes, and have a nice night.